Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit that subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. Now, yesterday I told you I'd bring you another story today about a woman who had the cops call on her for an absolute asinine reason. And here's that story for you. It comes to you from the state of Oregon in Clackamas County. Also, apparently, an area known as Happy Valley, according to some articles I have read. Janelle Bynum. Janelle Bynum is a Democrat seeking re-election in this area in her district for the Oregon State Legislature. And she was out canvassing the neighborhood the day before the 4th of July, back on July 3rd. And she had the police called on her simply for going door to door and canvassing the area, asking her constituents what they actually worried about, what their actual concerns were. And apparently, for one of them, their concern was this woman taking the time to ask her constituents what they needed. And her crime was she was doing a lot of typing on her cell phone after every time she left. This kind of suspicion is insane, if you ask me. I don't understand why would you ask the person what they're doing if you're so concerned about it? There's no reason to call the cops, There's no reason to call the cops on people because things can go badly. And I'm not saying because the cops are bad or anything. I'm saying it because somebody could have a bad reaction or somebody could freak out and then it leads to a bad situation for the police officer and for the person involved. And I'm not saying that was going to happen here, but you never know. You never know what could happen. Unless somebody is really committing a crime, you shouldn't be wasting the police officer's resources and time. And two, you shouldn't be putting other people's lives at risk. Because you never know what could happen. Take me for example. I get scared when I'm around police officers. Why? Not because of anything I've done or anything I think they're actually going to do. But I'm concerned because of the way I react. I'm slow to react sometimes. If somebody starts yelling at me, I don't react very quickly. So if that were to be a case, I could be in a situation where either it makes the cop feel like his life is in jeopardy, which then in turn puts my life in jeopardy. But back to Janelle Bynum. She was, like I said, canvassing, going side to side. She is, in a post she made on Facebook, she said, I was going door to door, spending a lot of time typing on my cell phone, aka canvassing. Let me go, before I get to the end of the story for you, because it doesn't end as badly as some of the others that we have seen. But let me get her Facebook post for you, the whole thing. That way you don't feel like I'm leaving you out any information. I'm not trying to make this, racial thing. I just think it's insane that this would happen. So I want you to know, what I'm thinking here. Live from the mean streets of Clackamas. Big shout out to Officer Campbell. That's the officer who arrived from the sheriff's department, who responded professionally, and someone who said that I was going door to door and spending a lot of time typing on my cell phone after each house, aka canvassing, and keeping an account of what my community cares about. I asked to meet the constituent who thought I was suspicious, but she was already on the road by then. The officer called her, they talked, and in a bit of good news, the woman apologized for calling the police officers. And I want to thank the officer, too, for being, as the lady said, very professional in dealing with it. I'm sure they get calls, from the sounds of it, they get calls like this periodically from different people trying to run for office. Apparently, people are just scared of anybody coming up to their door. And so I really don't see this as a race thing. I don't think it was a racial issue like I was saying earlier. I don't think this one is race related. I believe this is solely based on people being too scared to even ask what's going on before calling the cops. You shouldn't be so scared to answer your door to your neighbors. This lady apparently lives even in the, in this particular area of the city. And apparently it's somewhere just outside of Portland, Oregon somewhere. I don't know why this lady would have called the cops on somebody going door to door. I've had people go door to door. I've had people knock on my door. If I don't want to talk to them, I just don't answer the damn door. There's no reason to call the cops unless they're doing something, illegal. I mean, here where I live, you're not supposed to solicit, but we have solicitors come through here. I don't call the cops on them either. I just let it go. I get over it. I move on. But for some reason, some people don't feel safe enough in their own neighborhoods for that. Janelle Bynum, I wish you the best of luck in your re-election campaign. Sorry this happened to you, but I'm glad you're taking it in stride. And I'm glad, that you took the time, instead of just being angry about it and ragging on this person, you actually took the time to do something a lot of politicians wouldn't do and a lot of people wouldn't do. You took the time to talk to the person. And I got to commend you for that. Because a lot of people wouldn't have done that, and a lot of people would have just been like, oh, it was a racial thing or this or that. And from your comments, you make it very clear that you don't believe it's a racial thing either, but that it's just, a fear people have and not knowing your neighbors and stuff. And I think your hashtag is right. Hashtag be better neighbors. Let's be better neighbors is a great solution. And I think you're right on that. Thank you for, taking this in stride. Thank you for not, for not making it bigger than it was, but letting it be clear about what happened. And how things like this need to change. This is not a healthy way for us to live in this country. So Janelle Bynum, good luck in your campaign this November. I hope you're reelected if you're, because obviously you seem like a really good person from what I'm seeing. So good luck in your campaign. And I'll be keeping tabs here, and I'll let y'all know, the viewers here at the Big Ranch Show, on what happens with Janelle Bynum this November. But I'm just glad to see that this ended well. It ended with a police officer that understood what was going on and took the time to think about it. Took the time to talk to the lady, helped her get in contact with the woman that had the call. And I think that's a really great thing that he did that too. So thank you, Officer Campbell. I don't have a first name for you, but thank you as well for doing a good job, being professional, and helping in the situation. This is what I think this needs to happen more often. Where people talk. That solves a lot of problems. Whether you're conservative, Democrat, whatever you may be. Whatever your religion, race, ethnic background, your sexual orientation, or anything. I think we as Americans just need to talk to each other. I think that's what we need. We can have all the hate and vitriol we want, but it's not working. All it's doing is dividing us even more. And something like this is something I think we need to do. We need to talk to more people. We need to talk to each other, whether or not we agree or not. That way we understand where everyone's coming from and understand that we're all in this together. That we're all trying to just get to the, trying to get to the end of the ride, as it were. And trying to make America as great as possible. And that's just how I see it. And I think this is a great way that it was handled. I'm glad that both the officer and this politician were able to, handle this in such a graceful way. Anyhow, this has been the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. I've been your host, Jacob Keck, and I'll see you down the road.